Thank you to our GI Joburg supporters for supporting our Patreon and YouTube membership. You help keep the lights on and the wheels turning. Yo, Joe. Berg. And now for our show.
This is episode 389 of GI Joburg. My name is Steve. I'm joined by South African GI Joe fans and collectors, Rob and Paul. But if you're watching the video presentation, you're going to see two other faces in attendance. First, over here is my man Alan, who's responsible for a great deal of the music you might have heard on the channel, particularly our last year's PlayMotion experience, Demons. But it's been scattered all over in PlayMotions here and there and everywhere. Hello, Alan. Greetings. Welcome to Joburg.
Hi, good to be here. As you can tell, joining from the UK, so obvious immediately as soon as I start talking, right?
And just over the pond from the Netherlands, a returning guest, it's Snowcat Ron.
Hi, guys. Yeah, thanks for joining.
Excellent. And we are here to talk about Haslab vehicles and other dream projects of most recent past. This week past, we have seen the Snowcat funding reaching its first goal, but we are recording before the end of the campaign, so it's anybody's guess as to how far along she got in terms of unlocking her tiers. I think most interesting topic to kick us off, gents, where do you think this project will wind up? What is your thoughts about the Haslab? Was it the right pick? I have a feeling for you, Snowcat Ron, that's a bit of a no-brainer. But once you get us started, I mean, since it is your namesake, Ronald, what do you think of the Haslab offering?
Yeah, so actually I was really excited that this was offered, because previously it was said that it would not be a Haslab or offered in any way. So when it did come, it came as a surprise to me. So as also most YouTube channels already mentioned, that it came as a surprise, basically, but a welcome one, I would say. And yeah, I think, that there's quite some debate going on now about, about the world building, about, the crowdfunding concept for these vehicles. And yeah, but for me, I love this take on the Snowcat. So I do hope it will get all the tiers. I do love that world building element. So
yeah. You in for one? You in for several?
Yeah. Well, the world with the Snowcat. I think for the Snowcat, just one. Yeah, with the Rattler, I thought, let's just order two. But yeah,
army builder.
Yeah.
Is it freely available to the Netherlands? Is there a Hasbro Pulse availability, or are you going through a third party?
No, luckily there's a European Hasbro Pulse website. Otherwise, I wouldn't even start. That's
you. If memory serves, you did use, was it Zavi for the Sky Striker?
For the yes, and also and when the HIS came, Hasbro Pulse was not available yet. So that also had to go through like another retailer who could offer, like an online retailer who could offer that somehow. But starting with the Rattler, it is available on Hasbro Pulse Europe. So that saves a lot of trouble.
Yeah, I'll say.
Yay.
Alan, do you tell a similar story? Are you interested in the Snowcat?
Well, I love the design of it. The kind of industrial, utilitarian design of how they've kind of beefed it a little bit from the original version is beautiful. I mean, I've got the classic one, which was a fairly recent purchase, probably the last year, with a view to kind of putting together a little snow team of this and a snow team of that. But yeah, it wouldn't interest me because of the scale. That would be the only reason why it wouldn't interest me. But the detail is gorgeous, and if if you're looking through the website images, just that little cockpit image with Snowjob in there controlling it on the kind of well, sort of joystick steering wheel, not a wheel, right?
Yeah.
There's just a look of joy on his face,
Yeah.
which I think is just look, they gave me my baby bag, that kind of kind of look in terms of what's there. Yeah, it's got a, I mean, that sort of, there's an element with a lot of the marketing material actually that from some of the Haslab pieces, we've got a little bit of that kind of slightly photorealistic quality to what's there. And actually, I think they should lean into that, should lean into that more, because for this particular scale generation of quality collector items, I hesitate to say the word toy because they're kind of toys, but they're also there's so much sort of love put into what's there, and so much love for the people that choose to take them. That kind of realism moment, that kind of double take of, is that no? Oh, it's a model. That double take is kind of pretty cool, right?
Yeah, they've done an incredible job with these. But it's fascinating to me. I mean, I checked 4 days. So as of recording, it's 4 days to go. I checked 4 days ago, and it was only within the last 4 days that it even funded. Like they've at this point they've just gone over 8,000 now. Like it's sat for 30 days at essentially like seven-ish.
Was it Friday? I don't know. I can never tell. I mean, it might have been Thursday, United States time, but it was Friday for me. But yeah, it's very recent.
I read a lot of criticism online about how this went marketing wise. I wonder if it would be different with a little more attention. For example, if those photos would have been released sooner, it might have gotten more attention. What I do like, I do hope those tiers will be met, although it could be, challenging. What I like about it generally is that there's a focus on the Sunbow cartoon. So I actually watched the Hold Down the Heavens episode, and it clearly got inspiration from that episode. So with Flint and Lady Jane, in those winter jackets with the polar bear, which also comes with snake eyes, which mostly relates to the mass device, but also can be used for this episode, of course. So I love that you can actually recreate some of those Sunbow moments, and those Haslab vehicles. That's really what got me into classified, because nothing beats vintage, of course. If you just look at those figures, playability, scale wise, it's perfect. But I must say those Haslab vehicles do bring that little extra, like the light up effects and working treads, things you wanted as things I wanted as a kid, and now we're getting it. So yeah.
I mean, the Sunbow comparison. So I'm mixing my words, Sunbow and Haslab.
That's kind of cool. Sunlab.
Yeah, there's clearly there's a middle company. Yeah, there's a middle company. Some sort of that comparison. I think that's a really good point, particularly as, frankly, you're probably getting a figure and a vehicle that allows you to have a higher resolution animated play than the cartoon. So that's pretty good, right? It looks even more realistic than the cartoon, which that might not mean anything now, but it kind of probably meant something in the 80s. The fact that it looks better than what you're seeing on television.
I like how you said
I
that.
don't think we've got a definitive answer from you, though, Ellen. Have you bought in? Are you one of the backers?
No. As I said, it's the wrong scale for me, so it wouldn't be something that I'd go in on. As an academic, I have spent about 10 years analysing Kickstarter in a variety of forms for students on a variety of different university modules. So crowdfunding in any kind of capacity, and obviously this being Haslab, as they've got their own process in terms of the way in which they do that. But I would agree with the point on marketing. I think it's jumped based on word of mouth rather than on on well-oiled promotion. It certainly needed better promotion earlier on, and I think you could have seen a much higher figure coming through if it had that kind of earlier promotion. I mean, that said, sometimes companies go in with secondary marketing firms who basically handle all of that, and then they get a percentage of the profit at the end. I doubt Haslab do that. I wouldn't have thought that that's their process here. But yeah, they should have done something.
I do feel like we're so close to how the sausage is being made when it comes to Haslab, because we see this thing being unveiled in a live stream and it's so very fresh. That model is like they are terrified about touching it because it's just come into their hands from whoever's mocked it up. Then that gets taken across the country to San Diego Comic-Con. Then it comes back to get some glory shots taken in the dying phases of the campaign. So, like, we know the timeline of where that model has come and gone. I take your point, Ron, that it should have been those glory shots should have been rolled out sooner. But maybe there was just absolutely no opportunity to get hands on the model until right this minute. And yes, it has seen a bump, thankfully. It's amazing to see it in a kind of a snowy environment. Really, really cool. The boys are playing with their toys. I love it. I love it. But I'm curious. I mean, like, was this a botched Haslab, Alan? You say you've got some experience in sort of the Kickstarter model. Is there some complacency from Hasbro themselves, having had such a runaway success with the Rattler, thinking, classified's a sure thing. It's a lock. We'll have blown past our first backer goal within a week, and then the other tiers will tumble shortly thereafter.
I mean, I would probably say so. I mean, just to pick your point in terms of there being one model that they're taking to one place and then to another, well, then make two models.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sure. It's not rocket science, is it? That's a fairly easy solution in terms of sort of managing that. Yeah, I mean, I ran a Kickstarter, back in 2013. That was very successful. I was very lucky in that I rode off the back of another Kickstarter that, was very successful prior to it. There were certain tactics that, as an independent person who was just trying to put things on the rewards list for people to pitch onto, there were certain tactics I used that kind of really got us over the line. I don't see evidence of those here. I mean, they were slightly dark arts, but we might be going into tangents if I start to talk about those. But there are one or two ways in which you can pitch these things up, and you can sometimes it's the social media advertising. That's certainly what the secondary marketing partner usually brings in. They'll canvas all of the relevant social media, and you'll find that just because you've tapped GI Joe into something, suddenly you log into your Facebook and you've got adverts for, oh look, it's the Haslab Snowcat. That kind of thing is probably the kind of area where we didn't see that kind of penetration. So it isn't really necessarily about having the model or anything else. Why wouldn't we see that kind of algorithm engagement? And the reason we wouldn't see that algorithm engagement is because somebody didn't do it.
All right, Here comes the segue, boys. Was there a masterclass of word of mouth and how to successfully run a Kickstarter campaign in recent memory by any chance?
Well, the Roboskull, maybe.
The Roboskull Mark II! There's the segue, baby!
Well.
Thanks, Ronnie. It had a vinyl. It had old artists being tapped for their work. It had amazing word of mouth. It's a new thing. They were giving away free stuff. GI Joburg was sent T-shirts and like little robot skulls.
Yes, the
Skeledrones.
Yeah,
so
drones. The skateboard. I'm using the skateboard for my vamp.
Oh, nice.
So definitely the little guy schooling the big guy on how to get it done. And fortunately, you two gents are both recipients of the Roboskull Mark II. I see smiles all around. Ron, you're first blushing with this amazing toy. Tell us about it.
I think the biggest compliment is that I was already a bit too old or too young back in the day to catch the story of Action Force. But I bought this Roboskull because I'm a sucker for quality. And that's also how I got into GI Joe, actually, and with the Snowcat being my first vehicle, because I really love the design. And the same way it went for me with the Roboskull Mark II. So that really persuaded me to get it. So, if there's a masterclass in how to do things and how to do it right, look at the boys from Skeletron, because, they're really doing something right.
And there's a big difference, like with okay, so for Hasbro, it's very much business as normal. Here's the product, you're gonna go through the marketing spin, blah blah blah, comes from the top. This is like the KPIs we want generated, blah 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 blah. And for Skeletron, it's like we're making one thing, we're making this Roboskull, and it's got to win. It's got to fly. It's got to like kick all kinds of butt. So you dig deep. You start really thinking, okay, how can I get the noise? Like, how can I get the word out? And I think that's kind of what we're seeing. That's kind of the contrast that we're seeing between a company like Skeletron and Hasbro in this regard. Because I agree with you guys on the marketing thing. And also Skeletron just added a bit of a rock and roll to that toy. And I'm sure you guys agree, because you've actually got yours.
Yeah, exactly. The
Mine's
Mohawk.
still sitting with a friend.
Fucking Space Skull, dudes. There's nothing more rock and roll than that. Alan, your personal history with this toy, sir?
So I'm a little bit older than all of you. So I did grow up at a period of time when this was around. Now,
the chosen one. So I had it as a child.
No, not quite. So I was quite poor growing up. In that my parents, we kind of, I never felt that we were poorer than the other kids that I grew up with, until I went to university, and then I realized that the sacrifices my dad made, in terms of what he earned and everything else to make sure I had the opportunities I had, were quite considerable. And I mean, that probably speaks as to why I'm such a big kid recollecting all the toys that I didn't get when I was that age. But I was sort of 8, 9, sort of around that age. And a friend of mine had this. So I probably had, I grew up with the Palatoy Action Force, and then it moving into being Action Force and Cobra. And I hated the Palatoy figures. The 5-point articulation, utter rubbish. So I loved the kind of converted ones. So you had the Panther Jeep with now we know it's Snake Eyes version 1, but at the time it was Stalker was the driver. That was what he was labeled as. And you had the Cobra Fang, which wasn't the Cobra Fang, it was the SAS Chopper, and and you had a guy who actually the guy who sweeps mines for a living, repainted into a helicopter pilot. Who knew? So I had that transition, and then I had maybe sort of 5, 6 GI Joes of sort of good guys and bad guys. So I think I had Duke, Flash, Ripcord, Gung Ho, a couple of others, and then Destro and a load of Cobra Troopers and stuff. But my friend had this.
Well, now there it is.
The
right?
original.
And obviously I then subsequently, a few years ago, I then recollected and went, I'm going to get the thing that I always wanted, because I wanted to play with this. We went round to a friend's house, and he could basically just whatever. If you wanted my Jeep, if you wanted the any of the figures that I had, no, I'm swapping for this. So so this was
by this
was what we went for.
Alan is referring to the Roboskull, the Mark I, the Palatoy original, beautiful toy. It looks to be very complete. I can only imagine the price was dear, or did you find a deal?
So I collected it in pieces. So when I got back into to toys, essentially, there goes a gun. When I got back into toys, I one of the things that got me sort of back into it is I'd collected a lot of Warhammer, but I never used to. I got a few things from Games Workshop, but most of the things I would get would be the things that kids put paint on and ruined. And I would then take them back and I would clean them up and I would fix them. And so similarly, my sort of return to collecting any kind of Action Force / GI Joe toys was I'm going to get things that are broken or incomplete, and I'm going to kind of, get this part and get this part. So yes, it's originally an incomplete version, and then gradually just, bought the feet and got some of the guns and other bits and pieces and put it together. But yeah, it's complete. The only thing that's kind of non-original is the Red Guns. They're 3D printed. So, they're fairly straightforward to 3D print. So you can, there's a reseller who'll 3D print those, which is great in terms of what's there. But yeah, so that was my start with Mark II was obviously Mark I. So as soon as the crowdfund came along, I was all over that.
Pushing the button. Yes,
yeah.
Day one, baby.
Yeah. Well, crowdfunds tend to get me or they don't. 2012, the Elite Dangerous crowdfund grabbed me, and that changed my life. So, and again, another 80s, moment for sort of recreating stuff. And I was looking at it for work, trying to find something to talk to students about how Kickstarter works, and along comes this thing, and of course it's my childhood again. It's something to, and I end up working for them. So, I'm doing a podcast and doing a PhD that's based on the work that, that I did on it. So, that absolutely transformed my life. I'm not saying, Skeletron, come get me, but
Skeleton, come get him.
Yeah, but the point there is that, these moments where some of these things that meant so much to us, you when you do connect with something like that, just to find that community, to find your people, and to realize that it's not just you that it connected with. It wasn't just you that was imagining all this stuff. Other people were doing that too. That's a powerful moment. It's a really powerful moment.
Yeah.
I wish all the people that we've kind of gotten our tentacles into through GI Joburg were like mates of ours growing up. If we'd all been in the same neighborhood, the games we would have played, guys. My goodness.
Yeah.
The epic battles just raging in and out of everyone's houses. Ron, did you have the Roboskull at any point in your collecting career?
No, I completely no. So I do remember seeing some Action Force in the stores, but that did not register with me as something to collect. So I do have a memory of, because basically the Baroness figure, my basically favorite character, I do remember seeing her in a store, but I suspect it was on an Action Force packaging, because it didn't register with me, and I was already familiar with the GI Joe brand by then. My first vehicle was the Snowcat and the Ferret with the Crimson Twins, so that was my starter set. But I do remember reading her file card, or basically short bio that Action Force provided on the back, and that stuck with me. And later it clicked that it was her.
Right.
But I
was
never
this a
bought it.
card back that had sort of the cross sell of like photography of all the vehicles assembled? I know there were Pally Toy card backs that had.
Maybe Ellen, maybe you know this better than I do, but I think that short bio was either on the front or the back, but I don't know, like a short description.
Yeah, I can't remember. I bashed through those boxes as fast as I could.
Yeah.
Give me the toys already, please.
But just for that memory, I do have one of those Baronesses carded now, just to savor that. Yeah,
lovely.
She was a great character. She came out in the UK, in that first batch of Action Force, so as you say, that kind of switch over. But she was probably one of the few that the resonance of the story from the Red Shadows and the Palatoy fiction to the Action Force and GI Joe fiction, she was one of those characters that you went, Baroness. There's got to be something there. There's got to be something there. And I mean, I wasn't, and this is going to be controversial because I know many of your listeners probably are. I was not a fan of World Enemy Number 1. I did not like World Enemy Number 1, which
you don't like Palatoy 5 POAs. You don't like World Enemy Number 1. Like, dude, hand in your UK collector card.
Well, I liked Battle Action Force. I liked the comic, and I liked the stories that were in there. And they the kind of battle take of Action Force stuff I thought was really good. But World Enemy Number 1, just this idea that this global villain was gonna do all this crap, and just so he could turn into somebody else and abandon everybody. That to me was just, it felt kind of wrong. And I've always felt that, the Baron basically needed to be separate. Cobra Commander has a very, very distinct identity.
It feels a bit forced, right?
Yeah, it does. It does. It does. And to me, the whole Skeletron's whole, obviously they've got to think about IP and they've got to think about what they've got a license for and what they haven't. But they, the stick of the Red Shadows through the return of the Roboskull, etc., you've got such an opportunity to have something very separate to the existing, kind of factional forces. And and I love a good Game of Thrones, right? There doesn't need to be one enemy. There can be more than one enemy. And in today, it's not necessarily about one person threatening the world. We've got plenty of them threatening the world in real life. So bipolar or multipolar threats, I think
for me, there was another reason to support the Roboskull Mark II, because once I noticed how well organized this team was and the kind of quality they were after, just for that, I thought I should back them, because I really support that sort of initiative. Also, if you look at the quality of their O-ring figures, with the wrist articulation, it's beautiful. And of course, the fact that you can play with scale. So it's both suitable for classified figures and vintage O-ring.
I was going to get onto that later, but let's do it right now then. I can assume, Alan, you've got it configured in the 1 to 18 scale mode. Front to back seating, not Diaclon guys in the sockets. I mean, who does that? Honestly, that's cute, but like, who did it? I don't know. Ron, have you got your Roboskull configured in the same way, or are you making it a 6-inch figure? Right.
Well, I chatted with Paul some time ago. That actually we both agree that it's more suitable for the vintage O-ring style figures. I did order the classified style scale Skeletron figure. I do think that looks good. I might, display it that way a few times, but I love the fact that you can just change it.
That is a great feature, because then you can have like figures of any scale that you own can go into there.
Yeah.
But what I was curious about is, do the original Palatoy figures, do they fit comfortably in there or not? Like, can they sit in there nicely? Because I mean, I imagine O-ring figures can, or their little 4-inch figures can, but do they?
Do you want a live experiment?
I think there's plenty of space.
Let's have a live experiment.
So I've got a red wolf. Is a red wolf. Okay.
Yeah.
So original red wolf.
Lovely.
How terrible is that? I mean, goodness.
Get out of here. He's a spaceman.
Well,
anyway, right. Okay.
Supposed to do ninja crouch? Come on.
All right, give me a minute. Give me a minute. I'll have to turn around. Hang on. Oh, and not break it because it's sat here.
Is anyone wondering about the size? Is anyone wondering about the size of the Roboskull Mark II? Us Joburg boys haven't handled one, but I often muse that it is the size of a human head with these massive pointy wings.
Your head, but with wings on it, Stephen.
I love it.
That's it.
Okay.
Wow.
Yeah. Child head.
Monkey head.
9 years old, maybe, a head, and now adult head, I guess.
It's
or
grown
maybe
with the people
I
who
had a very little head back then. Okay, so let's see if I can pop the top. Alan
When I
tries to
first
remember how.
received the Roboskull, I made a photo like the classic Hamlet scene, just holding the skull,
Ah, that's
Lovely.
great.
without the wings attached.
Like so
Right,
it's like
pop the
a
top.
Skella Yorick. Or
Yeah,
Yorick
yeah,
Mark II. Yeah.
Just with more
yeah,
guns.
Yeah. He's all right. He's in
Okay,
there.
so he does
Fit.
fit
Not too
in.
bad. It's not too bad.
That
Yeah.
looks
Cool.
all right, actually.
He just look at those feet. He's busy showing you his soles. That's the only thing. It's a little dusty. It's been sat in a corner.
It's actually a very comfortable cockpit. There's plenty of room.
Yeah, absolutely. The top canopy really does it. The top canopy really sort of gives you all this extra space, and the angle of the seats really sort of helps, play that away. But yeah, he's fits in there totally fine. So there you go.
Oh, that's great, because I was wondering if he'd look comfortable in there. Like, would he look
Yeah.
appropriate?
He looks comfortable, but he looks a dork. Right? He's sticking the soles of his feet right up in the air. He looks a bit of a dork.
Okay, well,
there you
Mark
go.
II is a
Right.
2-seater at the 118 scale. The original is a 3-seater. Who accompanies Red Wolf in your original ride?
So usually it would have been a Muton
Right.
in the back of that. Let me just put this down. This is going to take a second.
It's quite a heavy toy, I must tell you. The Roboskull.
There we go.
It's a bit difficult to hold, and it's quite heavy. Yeah.
Yeah, it's not light. It's
It could have used a neck or something to hold on to.
articulated extra arm for me to or carry handle. I used to put a Muton in the back, or the Black Major. The Black Major could go in there, so he would be good. But you've got the under tray, and I mean, obviously for the new one, you've got the under tray, and they've really gone to town with the under tray, and you've got the Skella drones in there and what have you. But you have the under tray in this one, so the under tray's there, and essentially, I mean that they've gone through that and gone, well, this is the brainwashing compartment, and everything else. But you could put a Muton in there, or you could put another trooper in there, I guess, and kind of use that as sort of a deploy a soldier into somewhere if needs be, I guess, in terms of what you're doing. I mean, the thing that I have with these is that, as far as I was concerned, that was the apex predator. So it didn't matter if you had a Sky Striker, it didn't matter if you had anything else. That's the apex predator. That is, so if it's going to get taken down, then it's going to need 2 or 3 things to come and kind of take it down. And then, of course, obviously we have a Skeletron Kickstarter, and we get a version that is that size and is so much bigger. It's so
mothership.
If that's the apex predator, then that's mummy. You're picking on my kid. I'm coming to take you out. So yeah.
It's like Star Destroyers in Star Wars. Like, there's always a bigger one. Wow.
You really need to see this for yourself. Paul, did you already receive it?
I haven't. It's still with Bart. I haven't had the opportunity to send it out yet because, as you guys mentioned, it's quite big and it's quite heavy.
Yeah.
I'm just kind of waiting for the right gap to do that, or trying to make the right gap to do that. But yeah, you guys got me stupid excited for it because
if you have it in hand, it's so beautiful. If you look at how it's finished, the plastic, the paint apps, it's really beautifully done.
I mean, the stands are worth it though. I mean, you do. I mean, it's just perched on the chair there for now, but I certainly wouldn't leave it perched on the wing ends. The old one has the kind of engine cups and what have you, and it has a kind of slightly more grounded foot in terms of the way in which it works. The new one, it's got the stands.
Yep.
The stands that come with it, the flight stand is really nice, but the stands that come with it are perfectly fine. But yeah, I would, if you're going to put it anywhere for a period of time, use the stands.
Keep it in flight.
That's the only thing. Well,
so I'm just looking at the spot that it's going to go to. So
It's still vacant. Wow.
Well, not vacant. It's being kept warm by other things.
But I was about to say, no one has that kind of restraint. Like, if you've got space, it's occupied until the moment you have to rejig.
Mine sits beside my bed, and my partner said to me when I first put it there, she said, "Yeah, that's not staying."
And you're like, why not?
I guess she's as into metal as you then. That's awesome. No, I love playing devil's advocate. It's just what I do. Sorry. But aside from it needing maybe a stand, is there any nitpick you can bring to bear, or is this a perfect toy? Toy of the year?
Possibly when you're working, when you're sort of, hinging the, as I was just hinging the cockpit, you occasionally think you're going to break it. You're not, because the plastic is resilient. And it's not flimsy. It will take the articulation. But just for me, just occasionally, I'm kind of, I don't know how strong to be, if that makes sense. That's the only sort of major thing I would say. Personal point of preference. I mean, the pilot figure, the Bob Breakin pilot figure. Here he is. Here you go. If you've not seen this little, they obviously it's not a spoiler anymore. The Red Wolf Bob Breakin. Obviously I would like him as an O-ring figure. That's
I must say I did pass on those 4-inch figures. I bought the O-rings only and the Skeletron's classified scale figure, and I skipped the 4-inch.
Yeah. I mean, I bought additional Skeletron troopers so I could crew the other Roboskulls. So I've got 2 in there and 2 in that. So that's
cool. That's fine.
That was my whole thought.
Yeah, I think when it comes to nitpicks, there are hardly any nitpicks. I actually just 2 I can think of, which are not even that important. I think, like we mentioned before, how to hold it, that's a bit difficult. But anything you would change on that would also, change the design, of course. So it is wonderful as it is. The only other thing, just a moment, I lost it. But
I always wondered. I mean, it's very reassuring hearing you guys speak so warmly about it, having been fans of obviously classic O-ring GI Joe action figures. My feeling on it is that it is almost too cool for O-ring figures. It is too well designed. It is too modern to hold good company with fuddy-duddy things like a Mobat, a Vamp.
Skystrike.
I would personally, I would rather save the money and get the Mark 1, but that's very quickly slipping out of my grasp. That thing is horrendously overpriced now.
And the other nitpick I just remembered is that it's actually stated in the instructions, once you clip the wings on, you cannot detach them again.
I was going to mention, I saw that on a video as well.
Yeah. So for storage,
once it's attached.
So for storage, you cannot put it back in the box. At least not with all the protective plastic pieces.
Okay.
So once it's assembled, it's assembled.
Actually, you bring up something now. You mentioned boxes and storage, and this is something that I've been thinking about. Now, the Haslab stuff is coming, or the Haslab releases have come out in pretty big boxes. And you mentioned you got 2 Rattlers. Guys, how do you store these things? I mean, or I should really ask you a better question.
Beside the bed.
Yeah, right. But have the Haslabs and have Skeletron maybe considered that you would want to fold the box and have they made it easy to store? Have they given you little baggies for accessories or anything like that? Yeah.
I think to be well, if you don't want to save everything necessarily, I think you can do away with a lot of the packaging. So if you
Okay.
just want to save the box art or something, and you don't want to save the inserts, which are made out of cardboard and not very interesting, then you can do away with that and just fold them flat, basically.
Okay, that's cool. And is the box cool enough to keep? I mean, is it?
Yeah.
It is. It
Yeah.
is. There's beautiful box
Yeah.
art. Yeah.
I mean, the
Once
Skeletron
again,
definitely.
man, this toy is way too
Yeah.
cool because,
Mm.
like, I would, it would be Sophie's choice. Like, this is just cardboard, but it's got such cool printing on it. How can I bring myself to throw it away? Like,
And in the case of the Rattler, even the inner boxes. So in the box, it comes into 3 separate boxes, and those 3 boxes together form a cobra symbol.
oh my
And
goodness.
yeah, and also the printing on the top of those boxes. So they, there is a reason to keep it all.
No, they made it.
I mean, Paul, because you were saying about where you store them and the fact that these are kind of the sort of sort of apex toys in terms of what's there. I mean, my partner said to me, "Why aren't you cabling these from the roof? Why aren't you finding a way to to essentially to suspend them?" And of course, maybe that'll happen, but
there's
you're
this
always
classic picture that I see online a lot, like that there are partners that one partner is in bed with the USS flag, and that the other partner lies on the floor, right?
For me, it's
Mistakes.
just spiders. I'm hanging stuff on the roof in case a spider is like on top of it and decides to like drop on you or something. I'm ridiculous.
Do you trust your cables?
But
Do
I-
you trust your eye hooks? Like,
No.
I don't know.
No.
But
Like,
thanks to
Mass-produced toys.
collect. Oh yeah.
That's my wife Kim. She's just ducked in to get some pajamas.
Hello.
She had a work thing with colleagues. Daddy daycare over here left a podcast with the sleeping babies. That's awesome. Anyways, as I say, I do not. I would trust gut and hooks with like mass-produced toys. When it comes to Haslabs and other crowdfund dream items, I'm slightly more trepidatious.
But that's certainly
Yeah,
a
and
concern.
for example, the Rattler is really heavy, so you really need that flight stand. If you hold it, it's not something to play with. You cannot play with it like the vintage one. It's really
Unless
heavy.
you want to get pumped, Ron. Come
Yeah.
on. If you want to get swole, you lift a Rattler.
Play
or
with my
two.
You do some
Rattler.
heavy lifting with it. Yeah.
The Japanese do
I
this
know-
cool. Oh,
Once again, we've hit another segue, boys. I think. I mean, unless anyone wants to talk a little bit more about the Roboskull, any burning points they'd
I
love
mean,
to.
Well, I
There
think
was
maybe
one-
the storage topic. I still have something to add to that. I think because of my years of collecting, I became a bit of a Tetris champion.
of course, as we all do.
It is. I try to switch my collection, what's on display and what's not, now and then. I don't do it often. But about half of my collection is stored away, in the house still, but in boxes or whatever. And it's nice to know that I have it, but it's not in view.
Drives me
And
crazy
for those
too.
big classified items, I recently threw away a lot of, packaging material I collected over the years that I thought would be best to keep in case I would sell something, but apparently I did not sell much.
There's a thing that Japanese toy manufacturers do, and I'm pointing out, Good Smile and Bandai in particular with their toys. Good Smile has the Figma line of action figures, and they actually have like a little Figma baggie. I actually had one to hand, but now it's disappeared because we're busy recording. But it gives you a little baggie, where you can write the name of the figure on it and stuff, and you can store all of your, extra hands and all those good things. And then the backdrop, it's the new ones have got like a little bit of a backdrop where you get a bit of a Dio thing, and it kind of encourages you to then throw away the greater box. I mean, if you're going to keep these forever, and they all come with little stands, and I love that. And Bandai does a similar thing, and Bandai gives you these kind of like, it's kind of like a runner where you can connect the weapons and the arms and all that too, and you can actually link the runners together or just keep them in their own little box, and then you've got all the accessories together. And I'd like to see more Europe or more Western toy manufacturers start like adopting that philosophy, because we're getting a lot of packaging, especially with things like the Haslab Kickstarter stuff or the Haslab stuff, and eventually, you know, people are going to be living in and amongst their boxes. So it's great to hear that, you know, Hasbro is actually trying to make it a good experience, like a fun experience for you.
It is, yeah. So that's the whole thing. So if you look at those classified, at least the Haslab boxes, it's really a beautiful unpacking experience.
And as it should be for a premium item. Like that's
it
the Apple
be,
philosophy.
but it is, you know, it is. So they put a lot of thought and effort into that.
And it's cool to see that. Again, just if they're going to keep pushing out Haslabs, I do think that storage solutions need to be considered in the packaging, or like you were mentioning earlier, Alan, with Gloomhaven and Frosthaven. Like those are good ideas. I mean, it's smart. Board games do that. That's something that is part of the DNA of board games, because they know how expensive they are and how people keep them. They keep them for a long time, and you know, and it also stops you from buying other people's board games when yours is so big it takes up all the shelf space. But anyway,
what I did with my Transformers Masterpiece figures at some point, so I saved the boxes with inserts for the longest of times, and then at some point it just became too much, so I threw away all the inserts and just folded the boxes flat.
Dun dun dun.
Yeah.
I mean, there was one small thing I was going to just mention, in that you know, the sort of the last hurrah of Palatoy before they went over to being Action Force and Hasbro Action Force. The design of the vehicles in the last round of what was there were absolutely tremendous. You know, the Roboskull's just one of them. The Sea Lion, that. Oh, fab. Right. So, you know, and you know, I mean, I've seen Bug Hunt, your Cobra Bug Hunt, right? And you sent a whale after the Cobra Bug. Man, you know, this is what you want to, you know, to send up against the Cobra Bug. I mean, look, it's got the.
Would you send your Sea Lion our way then, Alan? Thanks. You know that's going to dip beneath the waves of the Indian or Atlantic Ocean. Yeah.
On its way. Yeah.
Have you ever dabbled with putting them in the water? For real?
This won't, you know, it's not sealed. It will basically, if it does go in the water, it'll just fill with water, you know what I mean? But
none of these toys are sealed. They're not accurate submarine toys. But
yeah, I used to.
Good.
You know, I'd go down the local river and play with, you know, all the different figures. I mean, the one thing that you did when you were a kid then is, if you got any, or at least I did, if you got any polystyrene packaging, that was a boat.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
You know,
and ways of making things that didn't float. I mean, if you had a moray that took on water, stuff some polystyrene into that hole. There you go.
Yeah, absolutely.
Now,
talk about things you don't have to stuff polystyrene into.
Let's do it. So this year, people have started receiving their Rattlers. Hopefully, by the time this podcast is released, everyone will have. It's shocking to think that, like, some people have had it for a month already or more. And folks, I suppose it's because the market in the United States is that much bigger than everywhere else. So the rest of the world,
but
ironically,
also please send Barty's Rattler. Sorry.
Well, he could just tuck into your Roboskull and it'll dry his eyes. But yes, Ron, you've got a Rattler. Alan, I suppose you dipped out of this one because it's not in your scale.
Yeah,
but I'm sure it'll be of great interest to us all to hear Ron's experience. So when did it arrive for you, sir?
Oh, around my birthday. So so that was great because I ordered it exactly on my birthday last year, and it arrived in that same week. So this year.
Amazing.
But I'm a bit. I don't know how Hasbro logistics, how that works, because oh yeah, there it is. Because
Happy
I
birthday!
yeah, I see reviews of figures and vehicles that have not that are not available here, or they are available for order or pre-order, but not for that it will still take some time for those items to arrive here. So it is different from country to country, I think, when something is available. And it's a bit strange to me that not everyone has received the Rattler yet. So I'm not sure how that works.
I think it's got a lot to do with the size of the American market relative to everywhere else. The global market is a drop in the ocean compared to the Yanks, who ironically aren't in attendance in this podcast. I mean, this is a very international episode.
You showed a few pictures, but what I really love about this release, so they really put some effort into the display screens. And I took the effort to zoom in on them and put some explanation. If you go back one.
There we go.
One or two. Yeah, here. So I zoomed in on it. So in the top right corner, you see the dragonfly symbol. On the top left, you see basically an image of the turret and 20 millimeter cannon. Well, in the middle, the center screen is just lock and left gun and right gun. And there's also an image of the display screen for Wild Weasel in the cockpit, I think.
There we go. Yeah.
But one with explanation.
Don't know if I'm going to find that at a drop of a hat. Give me a second.
But they put a lot of effort into the detailing of this thing. It's absolutely amazing.
Well, I can also explain it this way. So if you have the center circle has on the top left corner a tank symbol, like a tank is located there to bomb, with your missiles. And then left from the circle is an image of Cobra Commander, basically communicating with Wild Weasel.
I see that. Amazing.
Under Cobra Commander, you see like a top view image of the Rattler itself, like status info or that sort of thing. And then on the right of the circle, you see fuel status and a warning light. And those two displays, they start to flicker orange when you hit the damage option. Which is really lovely.
Stunning toy. Well, it was a runaway success. I just checked the numbers thanks to Brian Brink's spreadsheets on Geek Dad Life, and it closed out higher. More units of the Rattler were sold than the His Tank, which is astonishing. It's a plane. I suppose it is quite unique to get a jet at this scale. That's not something everyone's able to get out. I mean, this was. I'd say this classifies as a dream project. I mean, there are tanks available at 6-inch scale, but jets
not so much
further between, and certainly not ones that seem to have their proportions correct. A lot of them
somehow the Dragonfly didn't really do it for me. I mean, it might have been different if there would have been like an action feature to make the rotor spin or something, but that was lacking. And it didn't even spin that beautifully like some of the vintage toys have with the Fang, but also the Dragonfly itself, of course. And then I thought, for a toy of that size, they could have incorporated something extra for that.
A toy of that size answers all my questions.
Yeah, exactly.
I gotta say, and I know I'm gonna sound like a total shill now when I say this, but I feel like thank you, Rob. I feel like the Dragonfly and the Rattler and the Hiss, and I've said this before on an earlier episode, these exist because of the Roboskull. And when I see the HUD display and the cockpits and all that stuff of the Rattler, it kind of makes me think of the Roboskull. And thank you, actually, to Skeletron for that, because I think Skeletron doing that, the Roboskull, kind of made Hasbro. Well, when Hasbro saw the response to that, they were like, maybe we can do big vehicles. And I feel it's important to mention that because I don't think a lot of credit is given to Skeletron for that. And I think they're fully deserving. So, well, for the most.
Like we said before, it's a beautiful example of how it's done right. With fan dedication and attention to detail.
Yeah, you're serving a community as well. Like,
yeah.
I'm just thinking of like play motions now, and I'm just got the still, and it's like, Baroness, we're closing in on the target, and you can just like shake the screen a little bit just to get that like, like turbulence.
Exactly.
Yeah, so, it's so like fun. Sorry, I'm just having fun with the images now. I'm like, but
yeah, one of the reasons for me to get this is also to use it in future play motions. Then, for example, you can use the classified version for close-ups, and then for action scenes you use the vintage one, for example.
So Paul showing off the cockpit for the gunner, I was actually curious because the original, I mean, you can't fit all figures in there, and it's kind of like a tight fit. How easy is it to fit a figure into the gunner position in the classified one?
It's pretty well. I mean, I'm quite used to work with stuff like that. I don't find it very difficult to fit figures in that way. It is a bit
so it's a fairly easy experience.
Just like right. But because there's a control stick there, and it can be a bit tricky to really get the figure to hold it. Some people have trouble closing the harness, the seatbelt, but the sitting is fine. There's still plenty of space. Actually, I think maybe a taller figure could also still fit, at least height-wise.
Wow, that's saying something. Check the scale pattern on the harness.
Yeah,
very fancy.
Yeah.
And I'm really impressed with the quality of these figures. So Wild Weasel is beautifully executed. The Baroness, of course, best sculpt up to date.
That face, my God.
Yeah.
Yeah,
it's really beautifully done, and even the gunner, it's well, basically mostly Wild Weasel's body. So I think a retro release will be coming up at some point.
Does Wild Weasel look a bit young?
Yes.
that was the one thing that occurred to me, was he looks a bit young.
Well, there he is with his kid.
Or an ace, yeah.
And that's actually for classified. What I've noticed with some of the characters, they gave them some Fountain of Youth pill.
Yeah, they're all pitched lower.
Yeah,
they de-aged them.
Yeah.
Like they came out,
just based on that, on that crazy background that he has, in terms of all his flight experience. I'm looking at that guy and going, yeah, you've lived, and I can't see it. I can't see it on your face.
If all of that in high school,
you do see some scarring, but yeah.
Although, I was watching that TV series, which is I can't think of the name of it right now, but it's about the pilots during World War II, most specifically the bombers, the guys who flew in the bombers, and the amount of experience those guys got in just 2 years is insane. Yeah. So, I mean, to be fair...
Yeah, well, but that's in like an actual war situation.
Yeah, experience.
Like
experience.
A pilot. Yeah. In a general...
Experience or dead. Yeah,
exactly.
Well, I must say that if it wasn't for the vehicles, I would never have gotten into classified, because I was very afraid.
And we got old
exactly because of the things we just talked about, space issues. Restarting a collection you already have in a different scale. I really need to watch out that I don't dive too deeply. So
you do.
My explanation for this, what I'm telling myself, that I collect classified around the vehicles, so that I want a nice display setup around the vehicles. And that's my story,
That's a good rule.
Yeah.
Well, my original kind of motivation was because I was looking for and this was my motivation to recollect Action Force at all was because I was looking for another book to do after after I'd done my Elite novel, and I came across Kindle Worlds. I don't know if you guys had seen, many years ago, how Amazon had acquired a license for GI Joe.
Yeah,
and offered people the chance to write their own fiction. And so I, my justification, I think it was after I finished Phoenix Point, actually, which was a computer game I worked on. So after that, I basically started researching, my old Action Force toy lines, and started writing for that. But of course, didn't write quick enough, and that license vanished. I do remember it was, there was all sorts of really strange caveats in that license. One of which was that Snake Eyes can never be a fan of the New York Yankees. That was always that was in the contract. If you were going to write a GI Joe story through Kindle Worlds.
And you can't kill off a main character, I think.
There were a few others, and ones that have appeared in X, Y, or Z can't feature in your blah 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 blah.
So, is a draft available to share with friends? Maybe, Alan.
It's been cannibalized. It's been cannibalized. It basically, I got about 30,000-40,000 words done. I mean, I write quite a lot of novels, and I now they've got quite popular, which is quite nice. But yeah, so about 30,000-40,000 words got recycled into one of my other science fiction novels. So I know where the joins are. No one else does. That's fine. I'm good with that.
Ooh, just quick tangential speculation for a second. Does that mean that Snake Eyes is from Boston? Because nobody hates a Yankees fan more than a Red Sox. So
no idea.
I think
I've got to ask some people some stuff.
I think it's Google it and respond in the comments, please. I think that would nice. I'm sure your listeners will know. They will know.
That's insane. I see Steve's also sharing some things here. He's got some of the images from the comic.
Yes, I don't know if anyone's familiar with issue 280 of the IDW continuation of GI Joe: A Real American Hero, but they go back to issue 34, Shakedown, and move the story on beyond, Wild Weasel and Baroness getting back to base, back to Springfield. And you do see him for the first time unmasked in that issue. Is that what the Hasbro designers were going off of?
Yeah, looks like it, doesn't it? Yeah, looks like it.
Yeah, I think we even speculated as much on that episode, guys.
Yeah,
when we did it, I think we even speculated that they were going to copy it for classified.
And if I look at the comic, then he does have more like a lived face.
Yeah, but still not old enough, I think.
But has he just been punched in the face?
Yeah.
No, he's just survived a sort of crash and burn.
Fine. I was going to say I didn't see the rest
of
the panel. I thought that was it.
I do agree that the classified figure is a bit of a pretty boy in that sense, even though he does have some scarring.
This is a minor nitpick that I have for all of the classified sort of heroes and villains. They've all got extremely tight hairstyles, man. Very coiffed. There's none of that 80s charm of people having these random moustaches, afros.
No mullets.
Everyone's got they've just stepped out of the salon. They've got a tight fade down to a zero on the sides. They got a nice sort of comb back. I'm looking at you, Flint and Duke, pretty boys.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. They go to the barber every week, I guess. Yeah.
They've got someone on the team, clearly cutting hair every day, grooming them.
Why didn't you see that?
Steve, before I forget, I would like to get into some of the nitpicks for the
Please. Oh yeah,
we got lots of things
I love.
Tell us about your
I said it before. I'll say it again. Love playing devil's advocate, and I'm sure there are some issues now that you're very acquainted with it. Things that are certainly going to be useful for listeners of this episode.
Yeah. And I think there are some pictures for that. I'm not sure if I sent those to you. I think
You
so.
did. Well, I've got every picture you sent. So
Yeah, good.
yeah. So I just want to make sure that I know one of them has to do with this warning label.
Oh yeah. Well, generally, so there are three important things to me. Basically, so it does come with some pre-printed lettering, and most of it is okay. But if you look at the tail fin and then the horizontal part of it, not the vertical part, let me see if the picture is there. It's a bit difficult to explain.
Yeah,
But actually,
I'm getting us there. I
oh
think.
yeah.
Hopefully, this clutch. Sorry. All the things. Okay. Hold
Well,
on. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'd want to play your videos.
Oh,
You got these. By the way, we got these awesome videos that Ron shot that I think we're gonna get through at the end, or maybe not sure how we're gonna do it.
Well,
But
while you're trying to find that, I was curious about the lighting on this. Does it stay on? Like, can you turn it on and off, or is there kind of like a
yeah? So it
stays on?
switches off automatically after 2 minutes, so you cannot switch it off.
You
And
can't,
with his tank, you can switch it off, but with the Rattler, it has an automatic switch off after 2 minutes.
So you can't display it like with the lights on and like kind of like have it on at night, like a night light or something.
And then somehow this clutch reminds me of Paul a bit. Yeah. I do think there's a bit of a likeness there. Yeah.
I agree, because you're not the first one to point it out. But I actually no, Ron. I actually take that back. I think you were the first one to point it out on Facebook so many years ago.
Okay.
It was you or MCDJ ACDC. I'm sure it's one of you guys. And I remember like giving it a good look and going, "Yeah, that does look like short hair me."
Yeah.
So while I was finding the picture, I was also wondering about the stickers. So both the Roboskull and the Rattler obviously come with a lot of very nice stickers. I mean, that aren't pre-applied. Have you guys applied your stickers? I mean, to your respective vehicles?
So back to the nitpicks. The stickers are one of the nitpicks, because the good thing about those stickers is they can be easily removed again once applied without leaving damage or anything.
Is that on the Rattler?
On the Rattler, the negative thing is that it is very difficult to apply them without air bubbles. And they're not too, they feel and look a bit different than the vintage ones. They are vinyl, but I would not recommend placing them over anything like rivets or something.
So
always on the smooth surface.
Yeah.
And with your Roboskull?
Yeah,
so if you look at the danger sticker, yes, so that is a sticker which actually works nicely there. But in some cases I did have to use a little heat with a heat gun or a hairdryer to make it work.
Okay.
Because there will be air bubbles in no time, and you really have to be careful with that.
That's unfortunate. Yeah. And Alan, with the Roboskull, did you apply your stickers?
No, I didn't. I tend to hate them.
Okay.
So it was one of the things. It was just as a kid. Obviously, they do come off, and to me, I like the stickers. I like the moment of applying them, and kind of. I mean, there were things like I owned the Red Shadows Hyena, and then obviously everything changed over to his tanks, and so I put some Cobra symbols on it. Now it was great for 3 weeks. The Cobra symbol looked fabulous for 3 weeks, and then of course something gets knocked and they start to edge and fray, and then I'm like, yeah, but you wouldn't have stickers on a big real one.
That would be paint.
It would be paint, right? So I got annoyed with stickers. So with the Roboskull, I haven't applied any stickers to it. Probably what I do, I mean, things what I do occasionally, as I say, I'm sort of approach stuff as a modeler is I'll paint the engine stuff. So that's
Okay,
an
so you can't
old
like
Fang.
add your own detailing.
I've metalled the engine area. I'll put rust onto this, at different points. Yeah, exactly. I'll try and sort of think about ways in which I can kind of detail it as I want to detail it. Thinking of it as a model rather than necessarily as a something I put stickers into. Yeah. I mean, it's personal preference, so it's not it's the end of the world, and certainly, I wouldn't have, the stickers are obviously a part of the experience, and they are absolutely part of the experience, and and I totally get here where, if they're designed to be put over panels that aren't flat, that ain't a good thought.
Yeah, you're going to struggle with that because it will always look like a sticker essentially, unless it's very thin, or they're kind of like, Paul, those kind of stickers that kind of, it's wet applied, I suppose.
Oh, they're like water slides. Yeah,
yes,
that would
water
be
slides. I imagine that would apply much easier.
Yeah,
but I see you're not finding this picture. Ron, just describe to us what is
yeah.
the issue.
So there is one picture that I noticed that you did that is available here. That's about the foggy transparent plastic. So both the cockpit and the display. Yeah, that one.
Yeah.
So if you look at the display stand, that's clearest, but it can also be seen the cockpit. It's not entirely clear.
Okay.
So for the hiss, it was perfectly clear plastic, just like with the vintage toys, and somehow it is a little foggy. I'm not sure how to explain that otherwise.
I suppose it's not as clear as it could be.
There it is. There's the other picture.
Thank you. I wonder what happened there.
So,
I saved.
Yeah, what I mean.
No, it wasn't there. It's on your Facebook, Ron. Yeah.
Yeah. What I don't like about that pre-applied lettering is what you see now. That those symbols are not supposed to be there when you compare it to the vintage one. And I think it's also a bit overkill because those symbols are already applied on the large wings. And they do have a function on the vertical fins, and I use stickers to fix that.
Oh,
but
okay. Yeah,
I don't like these pre-printed lettering symbols there.
Because
I think
it
it's
makes
too
no
much.
sense in like an aeronautical thing.
No, nobody's on top of your plane.
Yeah. Okay, so the identification wouldn't ever necessarily need to be on the.
Well, these same symbols are already printed on the large wings.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is
redundant.
A bit silly. Yeah, a bit of a redundancy.
So it's a bit too much for me.
So your biggest issues with is the stickers, and then sometimes the placement of the or pre-placement of.
What I do like about the sticker sheet is it does enable you to mostly recreate the vintage Rattler. So there are a lot of labels included that mimic the vintage look.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
I hear you on the slightly cloudy glass, but I also feel that that's done for a bit of a scale look. It sounds weird to say that, but like sometimes when it's too clean at that scale, it looks fake. And I think maybe that's an idea.
It could be that. But I mean, but the thing is, like, if they had achieved that look previously, then I would say that's kind of a design choice. But I mean, if you're saying that a previous vehicle from the Haslab has had completely clear plastic windows, then it kind of makes you rethink about it.
Yeah, I don't think this is a mistake. I think they chose it like that on purpose. That's
okay.
Yeah.
It kind of
then it's a preference in aesthetics.
Yeah, it creates more distance. So it's trying to create more scale distance between the pilot and the window canopy. So they're having that little bit of frostiness.
Okay, I'm getting
so
it
makes that person look like they're further away than they actually are.
Okay, I get it now. Okay, that kind of makes sense. I was also wondering about the landing gear. How did the landing gear work on the Rattler? Like, is it as finicky as with the original, where the landing gear kind of like constantly wants to like flop inwards, and you aren't actually able to land it properly?
So basically, what you can see here is that the rear landing gear is actually inspired by the actual A10 Warthog. That you still see the tires of the landing gear when it's retracted.
Okay, so it's still visible even in flight.
Yeah. And there's a button on the bottom of the plane to spring release the landing gear. And what they did is that the rear landing gear swings backward. So you have more balance of the whole plane.
That's great.
Okay.
Yeah.
So even when in landing, it's pushing back. I mean, the movement of the landing gear wants to go back anyway. Oh, that's great. That's a great improvement.
Yeah, it's a big issue on the original.
Oh gosh, yeah. No, Steven had to design he had to make like a little straw, and he cut the straw off for me so I could go onto my version of the Rattler. And I have like a straw that has to connect between the two wheels, just so that the wheels don't collapse inwards.
What I feel about the missiles is that it seems as if they made it foolproof, because the actual name of the missile or the bomb is engraved in that part. So
so under the wings they actually identify
the bomb. I don't know if that's something American or not. Like the difference between horseback riding and horse riding, but
No.
Be very clear about things. But this is a missile.
At least it's educational to a degree.
Do not pull. And those cluster bombs, they actually have separate plastic little balls in there. Like if you shake it, you can hear it. So,
okay.
Yeah.
Well, I hope you don't lose those. You kind of pop it open. And you're like, it's not original if it doesn't have 20 in there.
Yeah.
100 in there. I mean, that I find is a bit of a strange choice. Like, where in the real world would cluster munitions be able to rattle around like that?
Yeah.
I mean, they are clearly channeling the Rock and those
they
like
want
VX
you to
gas
know
balls.
It's, in there, it's real.
Shaken, not stirred, right?
Yeah.
When in truth, I mean, a
population.
cluster bomb, like the bomblets look like bombs. They deploy little parachutes, and then they kind of.
Well,
I've been watching a lot of DCS.
Two nuclear devices included. So.
Oh my goodness!
Oh wow!
Those, those big fat boys. Those are nukes.
Two nukes.
They're
preposterous. Oh my goodness!
And there are some
final solution.
Yeah, and there are some fun stickers included. I have not used them yet, but I may do that still.
Okay.
To personalize the plane.
Is this the full payload, or are there additional bombs and missiles?
On this photo, you do not see the two missiles with the black and yellow striping.
Checkerboard. Okay.
Yeah.
Are they supposed to be underneath, sort of on the fuselage?
Yeah. So, I can explain that. So, if you do not use the flight stand, you can still fit 2 extra missiles on the belly of the plane.
Lovely.
But if you put it on the flight stand, you need to select 2 missiles that you won't use on the plane itself, and then you can store them on the display base.
Okay.
So what you could also do, for example, is use the included blast effect, and that you attach that with the missile to the display base, and then you pretend you're firing a missile while you can still include all the other missiles to the wings.
Lovely. Now, the 3 bombs that are in a sort of I suppose a rack together, is it similar to the original? Are they kind of on the singular rack?
So there's separate piece to cluster them together.
Gotcha. All right.
Yeah.
But do they drop vertically down, or do they also kind of splay out like the original? Sort of one is vertically down, the other 2 kind of out at an angle.
Let me see. You can see it here. They're not really. No, they're just clustered, and
Okay, and they branch just like the original, as opposed to like all of them being. I always find it difficult to kind of wedge off the outer 2. Like the middle one, easy. The other 2, I'm like, fiddly. But this is a vintage concern, I suppose. The newer one, because it's a lot larger, it's easier to. Mind
What's
you,
also
size.
nice, you can with your hand you can spin the turbine propellers, and also if you there's a thumb wheel on the carry cannon to mimic the sound of the actual cannon. It rattles.
What?
Like over here.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
That
So
feels
there's
very
like a
old
clicker,
school.
There's like a clicker in there. So if you turn that, it makes that sound.
Wow.
Does it go clack, 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 or
Well, we can only hope. But
the death
what I
hoover?
really love, so now you have this picture. So there's the ladder that can be pushed in. That is on the left side of the pilot. You cannot see the ladder now, but it is those vertical slits there. Yeah. So that's you can pull that out, and then a ladder comes out.
Crazy.
That's nice detail.
You did have an image, and I don't know if I saved over it or something, but it had the ladder on the wing.
Yeah, there's a separate ladder included.
There it is. Yeah, for the gunner.
Yes. So that is a separate piece, and yeah, you can use it for engine maintenance or climbing in the turret seat.
Wow, quite interesting to have that amount of walking on a wing.
Yeah, I wouldn't do it, but yeah.
And I can see the sort of candy cane of the ladder that extends from the cockpit. That's off to
There
the
are
side.
actually there where the ladder is located now. There are actually small slots in the wing to attach the ladder.
Oh, cute. Oh, that's
Yeah.
cool. And yeah, there it is, Steve. Yeah.
But if it were up to me, I would put the ladder where the searchlight is, so you can get into the turret seat easier. But of course, the engine opens up on the other side, so it would make sense to have the ladder there for maintenance.
And also boarding from the left and all that.
Yeah.
Oh, from the port side.
I wouldn't walk on a wing that you can tip up. I would.
Yes. Actually.
Yeah.
Whoa.
It should have had an extra sticker, like "careful moving parts" or something, you know.
Yeah.
Like no step, something like that.
How is the tilt wing feature for you, Ron? Is that satisfying? Is it a little bit nerve-wracking? Both?
No, it's fine. It works perfectly.
Beautiful.
So
I'm
both
not
the
sure what people are worried
rotating.
about, but you just have to use the button. So under the wing, there's a small button you need to press, and then while keeping it pressed, you can fold the wing up.
Okay, because that's obviously a new feature with the classified one. While the
Yes,
original, the wings were just tilt, like these are
deliberately
made, so that
made for people to be able to display the plane better. You know, not everyone has the space to display it in full flight mode.
Or the bravery to hang it from their ceilings.
I wouldn't do that. No, unless you know you like bumps on your head or something.
Or spiders.
It's really heavy. Yeah.
So I want to check with you guys. Are we like good to get into the his tank? Because
the his tank.
we've been rattling on about the Rattler. Yes, I went there.
Yeah. So the bridge to that is the blast effects you see there are actually from the Rattler.
Very cool.
So they are made to interchange. Sadly, though, I also tried that with the Roboskull blast effects, but they have a different port size.
Oh.
There was no collusion.
No.
At the end of the day, they kept their trade secrets secret. Damn.
Yeah.
So overall, with the Haslab project, something that I found, I mean, I don't know if it's interesting or not, but I mean, like you look back at the Dragonfly, they required about 10,000 was the target that they needed to hit to be able to start making the Dragonfly. You jump a year ahead, and they only required about 9,000 people to actually get the Rattler made. And the target that you need for the Snowcat to be made is only 8,000. So they're kind of slowly like edging down. Like they really, it seems that they want each and every single project to be made over time. And then compare that to like what originally the Roboskull needed. They originally, I mean, not originally, but obviously they ended up with about 1,500 backers. So I just thought that was interesting to kind of see, at least with like Haslab, how they over time are kind of lowering the bar to get something made. Like
I prepared for the Snowcat. See.
So like just coming with the blast effects and all that good stuff that's going in there. I see you display them. Do you often find yourself like interchanging them, or do you like to just let them sit in a vehicle and just sort of be there?
The figures.
Yeah, no, the blast effects for the vehicles.
Oh, the blast effects. Oh, well, for now I leave them on the hiss, but I change it sometimes. Yeah.
Yeah, because
Have you swooshed your Rattler around, Ron?
Yes,
Oh,
because
I
I
want
your Rattler.
Yeah, it's a bit difficult because of the weight.
Two-handed
but,
grip.
Yeah, it does require two hands.
I have the power.
Yeah.
No hand hold the camera.
But
Only
I
for
must
close
say,
up.
especially when you have the light effects on, and if you basically try to have the pilot's view so that you also see the display and everything, and from that angle it's really beautiful to hold the plane and to swoosh it a little. Yeah.
Does your neck fit just between like where the main wings are and the tailplane?
Well, that might be a good idea, actually. Yeah.
Some shoulder support in there.
You install a GoPro on it or something, Yeah.
Point towards enemy. Okay.
Yeah.
And the Roboskull, by comparison, Alan, how do you enjoy swishing yours around? Do you run around your house with it?
Obviously. Yeah, obviously, hat. That's the
Oh.
the best way. Best way to
There's
do it.
something-
What kind of sound effect are you making? Is it kind of like a TIE fighter, like a, or are you doing a kind of a kind of sound, or you're going,
it's gotta be-
it on my head?
It's got to be kind of deep and throaty. I mean, the thing is with the TIE fighter is the TIE fighter's got this kind of iconic scream, hasn't it?
Yeah.
But the thing is with the or Chewbacca.
Well,
But
Yeah.
the thing is with the Roboskull, it's sort of a beefy TIE fighter by comparison. I mean, I don't know. I mean, I'd probably, you're probably now setting me a sound effects challenge to go up in the attic and go and try and
create something awesome.
try and pull it together.
It's actually a great question, because what would be an appropriate sound for the Roboskull?
Well, I mean, for the majority of the time, it's obviously it's space capable. So up there, no sound. No sound. But then what atmosphere? Yeah, you'd have to have something that.
Well, the pilots are surely hearing something.
You're hearing inside the
sitting
cockpit.
inside there, like you can hear the engine.
It's got to be. As a cinematic concern, it's got to be haunting. So you'd have to, So I think you're setting me a challenge here. I think this is
some sort of just discordant two notes that kind of like clash against each other. I think that.
Okay, that's a good starting point.
May I just say that only on this channel are you going to find a discussion about how the Roboskull Mark II sounds.
No.
I know a lot of love has been shown for this toy, but I don't think anyone's actually considered like the engine sound, like the foley of that. Challenge set, sir. Let's hear
exactly.
it. Send
But
that
I mean,
in the
find a
boys.
beautiful soundscape for it. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I did as a tutor. I used to teach a science fiction and fantasy writing module, and I do recall one of my classes was students arguing over whether vampires could go out in daylight or not. That was a reminding them all that vampires don't exist. Was, about 40 minutes into the discussion,
But the important thing is that vampires are doing a good job of making sure that they don't exist.
That don't exist. Very smart of them.
They're clever vampires.
Very good.
But I gotta say, with the Roboskull, I do feel like it sounds like you're inside something's chest, like some kind of you know,
Yeah, or chest inside
cyborg
the head or
guttural
something.
demon's
Yeah.
chest.
Yeah, and maybe
But,
so some organic sound as well. You know,
Yeah.
It's,
That could be quite
yeah.
cool.
and
Wondering about the Nostromo. If
Hmm.
you remember the engines of the Nostromo in Alien, which
Yes.
obviously, you know, that when you rewatch that film opening, it is the biggest stupid science fiction contrast in the world. In space, no one can hear you scream, but they can hear the engines of the Nostromo. You
and
know,
the echoes from the
yeah,
chatter. Yeah.
exactly. But there's probably something there, because there's something quite eerie about that opening, which you know, you could probably work something in
I love
into
that.
what it sounds like.
Brilliant.
It's got a great sound. So, like, we totally went off on a tangent, but I'm glad we did, because this is the kind of thing. These are the topics that need to be discussed.
Yeah, this is
You know,
great. This, you know,
asking the important questions.
Yeah.
this tickles
Anyone
the
here played
imagination,
Doom
right?
and Doom 2? Like, surely we all did, right? Maybe.
They-
I don't know.
they
May,
were-
may have
they
played
were-
Doom.
Maybe.
So one of my friends was internationally ranked as a Doom player.
Oh wow.
So he was like number 3 in Europe, I think. You know,
That's
when I was a
wild.
teenager. But it just kind of, I think I was just had the wrong computer. I was just the wrong age in that Doom never grabbed me. Wolfenstein 3D did. Wolfenstein
There
3D
is a
did.
okay. Well, you're the generation before then. I played a bit of Wolf 3D, but the character that the Roboskull brings to mind, there are these flaming skull, and they kind of as they charge you, they go.
Oh yeah,
Hellspawn.
Okay.
Hellspawn, that's what they were called.
those
You
Doom
could
characters.
somehow layer it
yeah.
that sound somehow finds its way
Okay.
in there.
All right.
Speaking of sound design, I mean, Doom and Doom Eternal, and even
Yeah.
Doom the Dark Ages, not even Doom the Dark Ages, they all have magnificent sound design.
Do
Like,
some really good
absolutely
job.
incredible
Back
sound
then,
design.
I mean, you really
Well, the new stuff.
you need those specific sounds, you know.
But the old ones,
It's so
definitely.
limited. Yeah.
I mean,
Are there any future projects that you guys are in the process of funding or that you're interested in getting? I mean, Ron, you said you want the Snowcat. Is there anything else that you're currently?
Well,
It's helpful.
yeah, I may regret this, but I also backed the Actor 1
Ah, okay.
because I fell in love with the lighting and sound system that will be on there. And they will release both the version from the first movie, and you can adapt it to make it
Second movie.
the version of the second movie.
I didn't even know
considered
there was
that-
different sounds. I thought does it not sound the same in the first and the second movie?
no, they sound different.
Okay,
But I'm
a
not
bit of
sure
a-
if
of a
I
buster, guess,
will.
to know that.
You know, I'm a bit in doubt now, to be honest. But they look lovely. But those figures, they still have pins in their bodies. They don't seem to have the quality of GI Joe Classified and the Ghostbusters. You know, they have ghosts as enemy, but there are not that many ghosts available. So
Yeah, there's no ghosts.
I think it's mostly for the cars and the light and
dropped the
sound that I would like it. So yeah.
Okay. And Alan, is there anything upcoming that you're interested in funding?
Well, I've not seen that much in the O-ring scale recently. I mean, I did see Delta 17 after you guys featured it, so I picked up a few of those figures, which I thought was you know, they're fab. I thought they were really, really good. I mean, in the majority, what tends to happen for me is that I sell some books,
And then you're like,
and that essentially becomes my that becomes my kind of you know, because you know, everything else the day job pays the bills, and then I sell some books and I go, oh, okay, great, you know, I can kind of treat myself to X, Y, or Z. So you know, usually that's the case. I mean, I'm working on a novel that I've got a deadline for the start of September, so that's sort of taken me up at the moment, and a couple of other things. So yeah.
That's fantastic. Okay, well, all the best with the launch of that book. I hope it goes well.
Yeah. Writing. I've got a friend who's a writer as well. He's also in the UK. And he reckons, well, not reckons, but he says writing is hard. Not because of the writing itself, but like making a book or creating a book is a lot of work, and it's a lot of discipline and a lot of all those good things that you know about, Alan. So
Respect
all the best to you.
For sure. Yeah.
Well, you know, I mean, you kind of got to got to be, I mean, the thing is, I've taught writing for about 20 years. So, you kind of, at some point, you can't teach writing without actually doing something.
Yeah, like I know how to do this, guys. I've told you how to, cook all this food, but by the way, I can cook too.
Yeah.
Here's the toast I made in my air fryer. It's pretty amazing.
Yeah, no, I have a science fiction series, which basically is currently, how many are out? 9. And then I've just done another 6 short books, and I'm just finishing the 4th novel. So
that's awesome.
4 full novels. Yeah, there's an album of music with that as well. That a part of that. So my publisher's very interested in all the different sort of stuff that I can kind of add to it. So.
The kind of like multimedia aspects that you kind of bring to your book experiences.
I've always been a fan of soundtracks to a book.
By the way, like where can we find where your book?
So I've just chucked you a link. You can click on your little chat there in the corner. You can go take a look. So essentially, I write military science fiction set in the 22nd century. That's awesome. The one of the themes we kind of we've tried to be quite good with in this particular series is there isn't, I don't think there's been enough representation of disabled characters in science fiction. So particularly this kind of science fiction. So my main character has no legs but lives in zero gravity, and the story's not about the fact that she's disabled. It's about the fact that she's a captain of a starship and goes to deal with a rescue mission and so on and so forth. So
that's great. That's amazing. And Ron, what are you getting up to now? What's is there anything we can look forward to from you?
Well, yeah. So I'm not sure when I will get around to it, but I do want to make another play motion with Mark.
Oh, great! Please.
We also want to do that.
Using the classified vehicles, really putting in some effort to. What I always like to do in those videos is show the features. So just like you would in a toy commercial, basically. But that's very important to me. That's also what you did in earlier videos, I believe. And I think that still it adds value. It then you and the viewer learns to get to know the vehicle a bit better. And so
do you envision it being a sequel to Starlight Switcheroo?
Yeah, so we do have some loose ends that we need to tie up. So there's at least
gonna involve the Rattler
somehow.
Space Rattler. You fold the wings up. It's like
Shuttle Tiberium.
Imperial, exactly. Imperial Shuttlecraft. Turn it upside down. Yeah, okay. Yeah. Brilliant. This writes itself.
But I must say, it's been quite a busy year for me. So the hobby had to suffer. But yeah, I do hope I can pick up on that again. But I did want to mention, though, because you showed a photo a while back, maybe the snake armor I have here shows it as well. What I do like to do now with what?
You got
classified,
one.
Nice. Yeah, classified snake armor.
What I do like is that actually vintage style stickers and also Transformer stickers in this case add some detail to the classified series. So for example, here, this is from the Stun, cover lift, jet fuel access from the Cobra Wolf. These red dots are from, Toy Hack's Megatron, his sticker sheet. What I just showed you, the blasted Snowcats. So I aim to use this in a Snowcat display once it's released. But I do feel that stickers for vintage GI Joe vehicles can add value to these classified vehicles.
Oh, I agree.
That's great.
Yeah.
It also has a
sides of a coin. We've got Ellen, who's like, forget about the stickers, and Ron.
No stickers.
Use as many stickers.
Oh, I love it. Now that as a kid, the putting together of the toy and placing the stickers was all part of the fun.
Absolutely. And and you've got to collect your way. That's I don't think. I mean, I've had one or two conversations with people who've gone, "You're doing what?" No, you have to have that. You have to have that with that. And that with that. And you're like, no. Yeah, that's your way. That's fine.
Sure thing. Yeah. Exactly.
Well, we certainly get that too. People are like, "You're taking your toys outside and you're playing with them." Wait a minute, you're taking that submarine and you're putting it literally into actual real water? What are you doing with these things?
What you can't afford.
And it's like, just do whatever you want. It's your toy. You bought it. Do whatever the heck you want.
I still want to put both my whale and the hydrofoil in water. I've never done that before. So
do it. Go to your local canal. I mean, Dutch land is filled with canals, isn't it? I don't know.
Do a practice run in the bath, Ron. Just before you take it out into the real world. Do you know how it is?
Yeah. These two have a lot of loose parts, so it's
it is good to try it out in like a more controlled water. You don't want to take your flag straight into the ocean. Only crazy people would do that.
Only crazy people would do that. In like one of the warmest oceans, ever. Anyway,
burning the plastic.
What are you guys doing? I've had a blast, gents. Thanks so much for indulging GI Joburg with your experiences. I hope the listeners have really enjoyed. I mean, those of us who are sitting on the sidelines, perhaps of these crowdfunding ventures, and those of us who are patiently waiting for this to arrive in the post. Hope this has served as an appetizer. I hope we'll get your socials. Obviously, people can find you in their own capacities. But Ron, the best place is your Facebook profile. Is that right? Snowcat Ron?
Probably, or Insta. Yeah.
Instagram, of course. Alan,
yes.
We've got the link for your work.
You can Google me, and it's a little bit different. My first name's a little bit different, so it's ALLEN, but AlanStroud.com basically finds me. And you can, most of the projects I'm interested in and involved in usually are linked off of there, whether it's music for somebody, or or writing, or a little bit of film work, or something else that I'm working on. They usually come off of AlanStroud.com. So yeah,
nice,
fantastic.
Excellent.
Thank you for sharing your experiences with these figures. Like it's actually amazing because they're so cool.
Yeah, I was gonna say we got to enjoy the toys kind of vicariously through you guys, and that was a great thing.
And it's a preview for you, Paul, when you eventually get it.
I get my Skeletron.
This is a whole hype up of the bloody Roboskull for you.
When I saw
when you eventually get it, your head's going to explode and it's going to be replaced with the Roboskull.
With the Roboskull.
I'm Robocall.
Yeah, exactly. And then I can do more of these.
I hope you will receive it soon, Paul, because it's high time you get it,
Yeah, definitely. It's something I'm a big fan of, and I know I sound like a bit of a shameless shill regarding it. I mean, I just went and proclaimed that it was the reason the Haslab is doing classified vehicles.
I think
and I stand by that.
I'm sure they took inspiration from that.
Definitely. They saw that worked and they were like,
Yeah, they saw what could be done by an independent group, with a property from like the 80s, which hasn't necessarily been around for years. And they were like, yeah, we could do this too, actually, as a gigantic company. They produced this thing with 1,500 people. We can do this with 1,200 or less. Even 8,000 people now have managed to get, the Snowcat done.
Yeah.
But there's a bit of a contrast in that sense that on the one hand, if it weren't for the vehicles, I would not have gotten into classified. On the other hand, I can only buy so much because of space.
Because of the size of the line, I think that is the kind of the balancing act. Yeah.
And that's also why I think, whatever I buy needs to be special enough to deserve a spot. And so if Hasbro decides to re-release the Snowcat as a Tiger Cat, but then simplified, or the Hiss as an Arctic Hiss, but then with non-working treads or something, then I would not buy that because it will simply take up too much space and it's not adding enough value, in my opinion.
I admire your self-discipline.
Reach out to me again, in a year or two, and we'll see how.
Let's see how your revolt
goes. His entire house will just be filled with classified vehicles,
yellow and black, and ready to attack. It's the Tiger Cat.
Yeah,
it's a Tiger Cat. And before we,
I think Steve, you mentioned it, or Paul, you mentioned it, that actually, if you look at the Hasbro releases, all those designs have in the vintage line been used for Tiger Force, of course.
Yes.
So we just need the water moccasin, and then I think we're there in the devilfish. Yeah.
They'll do a box set. You receive this gigantic thing that's like the size of, I don't know, like a lazy chair.
A tiger.
Box. Like all of them were in there.
Mm.
Brilliant.
All right, boys.
Cool. And then
Have a great
Ron
week.
shot all of,
We'll be back.
sorry, Steve. I just wanted to say, like now
No
as well,
problem.
Ron shot all of this beautiful footage of the Rattler
video.
and the Hist. We're gonna speak to Ron and we're gonna see what we can do with it. Maybe we sneak him in for a sneaky side episode or something, and we get him to
We pop it at the end of this episode too. It's kind
to
of
narrate it or something. But
Oh,
otherwise,
that's
we'll just
cool.
yeah. So I don't know.
Yes.
I don't know. But we can go it in. We'll
Maybe
make a plan.
something
We'll
for the
figure it out.
credits, you know. Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Steve,
389.
take us away.
Yo, Joe.
Berg.
Berg.
Atron.
Berg.